My name is Heather Smith. I'm the marketing director at NAZ Solar Electric, and we love being able to have these partnerships where we can help our customers learn more about the products and ask directly from the source, which is why we have Alex with Fortress Power here today. Before we get started, I am going to introduce Therese Umholtz, who most of you probably know, but if you don't, she is our wholesale manager, and she's going to say a little bit, and then we will kick it off to Alex. So thanks for being here.
Thank you, Heather. Yes, I'm Therese. I'm the wholesale department manager for NAZ Solar Electric. So if you don't know, we do have a wholesale partner program that we offer to installers and dealers and resellers like you, so you can get a little bit better pricing on the products like the ones that Fortress makes, and also just get personal service and great engineering support from our whole engineering team, and everything that we can offer. So if you haven't signed up and it sounds like a good fit, we'll drop the link in our in the chat, and you can do that right from here. And if you have any questions, my contact information will be there as well. So thanks for joining, and with no further ado, let's get it over to Fortress. Thank you, Alex.
Thanks, Therese. Thanks, Heather. Totally stoked to be here. NAZ is one of my oldest partners after working at Fortress for a couple of years now, and I can only speak to the high quality and great reputation that you guys have built over these last couple of years. So I am really excited for this webinar today. Gang, my name is Alex Lepore. I'm the Director of Sales here at Fortress Power. I'm taking you on a journey today through batteries, and even more batteries. So as you probably know, we will have these recorded, and we are going to have the slides I'll be presenting here today be able to be shared out with you guys after. So although I appreciate your note taking, feel welcome to just lock in on the presentation here today, and certainly be sure to ask any questions in the chat. We will be doing a Q&A. I think Heather mentioned that we'll be doing a Q&A at the end of the slides today. So let's get this thing going. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Get started. All righty then. So for those of you, excuse me, for those of you that maybe don't know who the heck Fortress Power is, let me give you a little bit of a background. Fortress Power is an energy solution partner that really focuses on things like batteries, inverters, and full-scale solutions for your home or your business. And we've been in business for over 7 years now and are backed up by a private equity firm. And since our inception 7 years ago, believe it or not, we've done 35,000 installations, not only here in the continental US, but all over the world, right? Ranging from South America, Latin America, Africa, all over the place. Part of what we will talk about today is certainly Fortress Power's products and the features and the applications of those products, but we'll talk about some other different things of, why working with Fortress adds value to you, right? Whether it's our participation in VPP programs, having resources available to help you with sizing and designing your system. So when you go to NAZ, they can help with the engineering questions and confirming that size or design, and all of those things we handle here at Fortress. So I like to tell folks, look, Fortress Power, we're more than just a battery seller, which are several of those that we're seeing on the market here today. We're going to be your battery partner, right? With sales and service located all in the United States here, on both coasts, as I'm calling in from LA. My director of marketing, Anthony, who is behind the camera, he's calling in from Pennsylvania. So we have sales and service on both coasts to help you and your project. So with that said, our product portfolio has a wide range. Now, today's focus is going to be on the residential, right? So just a quick note there, it is going to be a residential focus. We do have a C&I line available. More details can be shared on that on a follow-up email if you were interested. And I will talk a little bit about VPP or energy broker as well. So just for your knowledge, as you learn about Fortress, we do a whole lot of things here that can help you guys achieve the goals that you've set. So people choose Fortress Power because not only are we making high quality solutions, but we're giving people access through flexibility to find the product that works well with their project. Products that can help save them time and money that has proven quality. Having 7 days a week technical support and 7 years of experience certainly goes a long way as you choose the manufacturer of your energy storage solution. So you can feel really comfortable with us knowing this is not our first rodeo, as they say. We have been around the block, and we definitely know a thing or two about batteries and solar. So with that said, the presentation here today is really regarding and revolving around our 48-volt products. And so it includes, some of the products we had led with in the past, like the eVault Max and the eFlex Max, right? The eVault Max is the size of a mini fridge, 18.5 kilowatt hours. The eFlex Max is 5.5 kilowatt hours, a little bit more flexible with the sizing, as the name implies, but is also outdoor rated. Our own inverter coming in 3 sizes. I'll talk more about the NV in the next couple of slides. Our new product, very exciting, very high quality, the eForce. I'll touch base on that today. And then other accessories that you can use with your batteries, like the Durarack or the Flex Tower. And there's one thing to note about these products just in general, is that yes, you can use them for your home application or your residential application, but Fortress Power can also support you with your curiosity and moving off the grid, having experience in off-grid projects, working on even some commercial facilities if the service is 208 volts, in mobile applications for RVs, railway applications like what we've done with SEPTA a couple of years ago, helping provide batteries for the railway line, marine applications for your boat or for your yacht, if you're Heather from NAZ, and then telecommunication applications as well. So batteries are much more than, hey, I just need a battery to power some loads. Batteries are very dynamic, multifunctional, and it's really important to do your research with batteries because they are certainly not a cheap investment. So with that being said, let's go into some very concise details about our NV 12 kilowatt inverter. So
Hey,
inverters, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. Your slides are staying on the first slide. If you can bump those down.
Them down.
We're only seeing your first slide. If you're trying to
That's
see the other slide.
embarrassing. How about now?
It's still on your first slide. It's not in present mode. You might have to manually click down your slides on the left, but it's still just showing your first slide.
My apologies, guys. Give me just one moment to figure this out. I'm going through my slides and I see them just fine on my screen, but let me...
Now we're seeing them switch.
There you go.
How are you seeing them switch?
I now see product portfolio.
Okay. And then do you see why people choose Fortress now?
And now yes, the ones that are highlighted red on the left are what's showing.
Huh.
Now it's proven reliable, versatile with the products, and now it's on NV True.
Now, if I share this, does it come up in the full screen view?
It's still showing the PowerPoint menu.
The PowerPoint menu. Bear with me for a minute, guys. My apologies. Still getting used to this platform here.
You're good.
All right, let's try this instead. How about this?
Give it a second. Now we are seeing them as they should.
As they should. All right, guys. Well, let me just go back through that product portfolio we talked about, right? Secondly, we then also talked about why people choose Fortress Power. There is a slide about this, I promise and assure you all, right? We talked about the differentiated solutions. And then this is where I went through those products on the eVault Max, the eFlex Max, NV, and eForce. So where I was leaving off was the NV2 12 kilowatt inverter. So where was I going with this? Oh, yes, inverters. Inverters are a great technology because what they help do is convert, have the conversion between AC and DC power for those that are maybe new to the solar space. So inverter is really the center point of your solar system, right? And so this inverter that we have here, it's a 12 kilowatt inverter. It's very large, and it comes with a 200 amp pass-through, and it will act as an all-in-one solution to plug in your photovoltaic array, your solar, a generator, having the ability to do on-grid and off-grid capability. It is outdoor rated. IP65 is a designation for being outdoor rated. It's called ingress protection, and it's very scalable. So, some of you guys may be looking at this like, hey, I maybe only need one inverter to power my home. But some folks with, a ground mount system or a larger budget, you can scale these units up to 120 kW of power for very large solar arrays and then utilize our NV for those sorts of projects. There are 3 MPPTs, meaning that if you have a solar array, you can size and design the solar array flexibly with 3 MPPTs, maximum power point trackers. And I did mention the ability to do 3-phase 208 volt compatibility as well. So the benefit of our inverter, that's one hand to shake. All of the monitoring, all of the service that's going to come with installing our inverter is going to come from Fortress Power, right? It's going to be one phone call to Alex or one phone call to technical support if you have any questions, or if you have maybe the rare glitch in the system, so you can call Fortress Power and we can help you get that issue resolved. So the NV here also comes in 2 different sizes, as you'll see here in the middle of my screen, hopefully. The 8 and the 10 kilowatt system. So part of what NAZ and Fortress will help you with is deciding, well, which NV size do I need based on my solar array size? And then we size a battery based on your loads, right? We size it based on what things you want powered and when and how, right? So the inverter is one part, extremely important part of the system. It is going to be essentially the brains of the system, connecting the solar, the battery, and then your home. And the battery, speaking of, is going to be something like our eForce. Now, batteries, the main purpose of a battery is to really store and deliver power when it's told to, right? There are new technologies coming out on load management, things like that, right? But typically a battery is to store and deliver power. And what makes a battery a good battery are a couple different things. The first is the chemistry, right? Like the eForce, other batteries are moving to LFP chemistry because of safety and longevity, right? The second thing is ease of install. The eForce has a built-in bus bar through this middle box. It's called the E-Way. So you can parallel multiple batteries together and reduce wires that are externally run between batteries. It'll help with many different things, from saving you time and saving you money. And each battery itself here, this little gray area, where'd my mouse go, is a 9.6 kilowatt hours. So this would be 9.6 kilowatt hours with the inverter sitting on top. This one would be 19.2, and this would be 28.8. So you can basically snap in an eForce via a quick plug, which is just literally like a plug that snaps on top, stack it up vertically, and then parallel multiple batteries via the E-Way because there are knockouts on the side. So the goal here is that because it's the high quality LFP chemistry, it's very easy to install. It also comes with a built-in heater. We can have very high performance with our eForce that is also modular to fit and grow with your needs if or when they change. So yes, it is possible to start with a small battery in this eForce configuration and add batteries on later, right? Maybe you start with a small system today, you get a nice big Christmas bonus, or Santa comes and delivers it, and you can then add more batteries on at a later date. And it's very scalable up to 153 kilowatt hours. I did mention the fact that it's outdoor rated with that IP rating, IP65 aluminum grade enclosure with that heater. I like to mention this because I'm in California now. A lot of what jurisdictions are requiring is batteries be installed outside, believe it or not. So if you're calling in from a state, 2 things. First, do your research. Certainly find a good manufacturer that knows what the heck they're talking about. And then second, figure out, okay, what sort of AHJ or municipality requirements am I going to have to go through? Because that's going to determine a lot of where you're allowed to install this, right? Inside versus outside, or considerations on both sides of, clearances from, your neighbors, or if it's in the garage, you may need to put in, in California, they make you install bollards, protective devices to protect the battery from vehicles. So all these things come into the flexibility of the eForce, so you can size and design a system that can go inside or outside, is scalable based on your kilowatt hours needed, and is easy to install, right? So you're not spending all day installing your battery. You can install your battery and then move on to your next project. The eForce will tie in with our inverter, the NV, and we'll have closed loop communication. And more resources on this. We have several webinars and videos on our YouTube channel about the NV and the eForce. And you can see all of those installation videos, unboxing videos, all available on the Fortress Power YouTube channel or our website, www.fortresspower.com. So the eForce is very exciting, but I do want to give some love to some of the other products that we've sold over the years. The eFlex Max, 5.4 kilowatt hours, as the name implies, very flexible with how and where you can install it in 5 kilowatt hour blocks, whether this be installed on the wall as a wall mounted solution, it can be installed as a floor standing solution, or on the next slide, I'm going to introduce to you all the Durac, which is a cabinet accessory you can purchase. Now, you don't need the cabinet accessory, but there are benefits to the cabinet accessory. There is no heater built into this eFlex like the eForce. And it is outdoor rated like the eForce with that aluminum, really high quality aluminum enclosure that is a sealed battery to protect against the elements if you do decide this in outside or in arid or outdoor environments. The maximum you can scale this unit up is to 30 units. So this would be a 150 kilowatt hours or so. So very similar to the eForce. And again, just like the eForce, it is more modular in size. So if you want to start small, you can add more batteries on later. Just a word of caution, make sure to add batteries on within 1 year, right? You want to make sure they're within 1 year. There's a lot of battery science that goes behind that claim. I can maybe talk about that at the end, but for the time we have here, I just want to mention that. Do it within 1 year. I can answer those questions on that maybe at the Q&A session or outside of this this presentation today. It is still LFP, guys. We do LFP batteries because of the safety and longevity, right? Lithium iron phosphate is that safest chemistry, and what you'll be able to use this for, again, is for your home load, but also if you have an RV, a telecommunication application, a marine application, again, hence the name of the eFlex, very flexible with application, size, and installation location. The Durarack fits the eFlex Max I just introduced to you. So at the bottom, right, you have 4 eFlex Maxes can fit into one bottom cabinet here. You can parallel multiple bottom cabinets together, right, if you have larger capacity needs. This is outdoor rated. It is compatible with 48-volt inverters, and that inverter is going to sit here at the top. And as you guys are probably putting together, not only is it a pretty neat aesthetic look, at least in my opinion, but you have the ability to have very easy wire management from the inverter to the battery and between batteries for larger systems. Very easy to parallel those multiple inverters and batteries. The reason why you maybe want to have the Durarack, I know I mentioned the eFlex Max is outdoor rated, right? And it has that built-in aluminum enclosure, right? And the eFlex Max has a built-in 300 amp bus bar. So it allows you to bus batteries together directly on the battery. But for larger systems or for systems where you are installing it outside, the Durarack can act as another layer of protection for the battery, right, to protect it from, the elements. It can also then help you with, the actual installation method of having just one way to have the eFlexes installed or combined on the combiner block, the terminal block, bus bar, and then run right up to the inverter lugs here where the NV12K is going to sit as an example. So indoor or outdoor as well, but again, this is another level of protection. And in some instances, you may be required to use the Durarack because of installation location or the size. In some instances, you may not, but that is our jobs at NAZ and Fortress Power to help you figure out what materials you need, right? So consult with the experts. They know our products just as well as we do and can help you decide, do you need a Durarack or not? And here is the logic behind that. Okay. And then last but not least, one of our flagship products over the last at least 5 years, my goodness, has been the eVault Max. This is like the size of a mini fridge, right? It's 18.5 kilowatt hours. You can scale up to 20 units in parallel. It is just an indoor rated battery, but I will say I still see a lot of folks interested in this battery because of its cost per kilowatt hour. It is still LFP chemistry. I personally, I like the look of all of my products. Why wouldn't I, right? But nonetheless, it is a very easy to install battery with the terminals right on top. Large capacity means you can back up your critical load panel with just one 18.5 kilowatt hour battery. Comes on wheels. It is rather heavy, I will say, around 400 pounds. It comes on wheels so you can move it around and then get it onto site and plug and play it with our NV inverter. So with that said, we do a lot of different home applications. I've seen thousands of projects over my tenure here at Fortress. So you could be someone like this on the left-hand side where you're getting a pump in, and you got your inverters and batteries here. You're backing up your entire home, it looks like, in this situation. You can have something like in the middle where you have the eFlex Max installed on the wall. You can see they installed it on some Unistrut, and then they have the NV12 kilowatt inverter here. And this was maybe more of a critical load scenario backup, right? Or maybe they had a 100 amp critical load panel and they wanted to back up that 100 amp critical load panel. And certainly you could take a look at the NV or the eForce on the far right, which again, this was an outdoor rated solution. This is with the NV 8 kilowatt inverter. You'll see it fits flush mounted right on top of the E-Way. This would be 19.2 kilowatt hours. And yes, the eForce can be wall mounted along with floor standing. I may have missed that detail. but it can be wall mounted in addition to floor standing. So you could have, whether you're calling in today and you want to get a pump in and back up your home and then some, or maybe, you're calling in today and you're just exploring batteries and you want to see how they work and back up some loads if the grid goes out or offset your electrical costs. You have options here in size and product that you can choose from depending on your needs and your goals, right? So what I like about the eForce particularly is this flush mounted scenario, right? It removes the need for a secondary bus bar, like you'll see here on the eVault Max. That just helps save time and money, right? Simply put. Similar here with the eFlex Max, it has that built-in bus bar on the top. It's just going to save you time and money, right? Raw materials are getting more expensive for several reasons. I won't go into that, but it's good to have solutions that have those things in mind. So whether you're installing it and you're never going to touch it again, or installing and going to expand it, you can plan ahead, and hopefully Fortress can help you save that time and money with your purchase and investment in solar and storage. So, one of the things I think I've seen in the industry in the last couple of years is you see a lot of batteries coming into the market. And I get questions every day of, cheap batteries and why do I choose Fortress when I can get something cheaper? I like to kind of relate it to the car dealership sometimes, right? You go to a car dealership, yes, there is going to be cheaper cars, but do you always want to go with the cheapest car on the lot? Logic would tell us probably not, right? For some people, maybe that's totally fine and it fits their needs, not to say. But I think for, most folks, at least in my opinion, the cheapest isn't always the best, right? And so Fortress, our goal here is to provide more value to everybody. And, the value of the robust hardware that I just went through, the value of that service and sales that we have based here in the US, so that when you call Fortress Power's line, a real human being actually picks up the phone, right, and can talk with you and get you to open a support ticket, right? So there is more to working with a manufacturer, and that's where Fortress, I think, really shines in having those other intangibles that, yes, maybe we're not the cheapest battery directly from China, but we are certainly going to stand by our products, warranty your products, and support you in your project. That is what makes us different. And I did talk about, an added value of working with Fortress is Energy Broker. Now, look, Energy Broker is essentially our ability to communicate with utilities for programs that maybe have rebates or credits for your purchase of solar and storage. So, for example, in Utah, we're part of a program called WattSmart that Rocky Mountain Power hosts. It's the utility out there. And what they do is they say, well, if you install a Fortress Power Envy and the eFlex Max, we're going to give you X amount per kW. I believe it's maybe $400 a kW, maybe $200 a kW now. But you can see here, if you're a person calling into this, you're like, wow, the utility is going to pay me for my investment, and it's going to help you reduce your upfront cost as you look at purchasing this equipment. So a lot of these VPP programs, we'll call them, in California, Utah, there's some programs coming in South Carolina for Duke Energy in the Northeast. They will allow you to reduce your costs through rebates, leverage that with the 30% ITC tax credit that's still around, knock on wood, and it'll help you reduce your costs to achieve a more aggressive payback on your equipment, or just reduce your costs overall, right? And these programs are only getting more aggressive because the states do want to have more solar and storage deployed in the utilities, because it does benefit them, believe it or not, right? Because it helps them curb demand and it helps them have more resiliency for their constituents. So why I mention this, right? You're like, okay, Alex, where the heck are you going with this thing? If you're in a state that you don't see in this, bluish, green, magenta color, don't fret, right? You may have a VPP program coming to your region, and you'll be able to utilize that program. And Fortress has the ability to plan those programs to help you have a system that's high quality, but also affordable to help you achieve your energy goals. If you're calling in from a state that is in this magenta color, you should be doing some research on, hey, am I going to be able to work in this program, right? Do I want to consider this program for my project? Because it's going to help me through a rebate. It's going to help me reduce my costs. So again, Fortress is not just selling batteries. We have this entire program working with utility companies to help homeowners like you have a system that is not going to break the bank. All across the US, and more states are doing it, like Arizona. APS is now doing one where they're doing a VPP program. Texas is, I believe, going to be doing something similar. So keep your eyes peeled on this, you guys. It's a very big part of the energy landscape. into the future is going to be utilities and VPP programs. I promise you. Promise you. So another value, and quite an exciting value in again, my opinion here, is our ability to provide a 30-year warranty. Yes, you heard me right, 30-year warranty with our industry partner Solar Insure. We're able to provide a 30-year warranty on all of the systems. Let me repeat that, a 30-year warranty on the inverter and the batteries, right? Now, I will say you have to go to solarinsure.com, check out the details. You want to read the terms and conditions, guys, right? But the ability to consider a 30-year warranty on Fortress Power equipment is super, super exciting, right? It really shows that Fortress Power is really well vetted. We do stand by our quality standards that I mentioned earlier, and we're able to support you guys in your goals. Now, Fortress Power equipment comes with a standard 10-year warranty, right? But if you are interested in the 30-year warranty option, you'll be able to take a look at Solar Insure and our partnership with them and see if that is something you'd be interested in for your own project. Again, that is Solar Insure, is that company doing that. And last but not least, we've got resources, guys. We've got a lot of resources. I'm a little nervous about clicking these links, but we're just gonna do this thing. So we have this system designer. Can you all see my screen here?
Yes.
Thank goodness. Okay, so you could come into here, and now, guys, look, this is not gonna size your system for you completely, but if you wanted to get a rough guesstimate before you go to NAZ, right, on what kind of system that you want to have, you could go into our system designer tool, free, and basically size a system based on your project and your goals, right? So we start with the application, how many days of power you want, what kind of power it is. Most of it is going to be split phase. Where are you going to be installing it? You click next. You then put in the loads, right? You can drop down, and there's a ton of loads in here that you can pick from. But refrigerator, microwave, dehumidifier, waffle iron, ice maker, TV, maybe Wi-Fi. You can add in other entries as well. And then you go to suggested systems, and it'll actually give you some systems that would maybe serve as a start in your inquiry for sizing and designing your solar and battery system, right? So again, it's letting Fortress help you in supporting your project. And there's a lot of confusion on, well, where do I start? Well, you can start here, right? And all you got to know is what loads, what are you going to power, and where are you going to install, and Fortress does the rest of that work for you. So that would be, that's number one. Number two, I always like to go to education and training, if it'll load. FortressPower.com is chock full of resources. You could spend a whole day, me being dramatic, you could spend a whole day going through FortressPower.com and checking out all of the resources we have. Here's that little webinar we're doing, right? We do other webinars and YouTube channels on sizing and designing, unboxing, training portal, all sorts of stuff available on our website, okay? And we have other links here for financing partners that we work with, the warranty programs, opening up a support ticket, all training. I talked about that already. Data sheets on our products. All of that is right here on our website. We have nothing to hide. We like to let you guys know what is available for you all, so you can utilize our resources to your advantage. Financing partners, I will defer on that for now, just for time's sake, but you can always see what partners were approved with on the financing side, whether it's loan partners or lease partners, everything in between. You just head over, guess where? FortressPower.com. Check out the financing partner section, and you can peruse through that web page and get some more information. So a lot of resources here is the gist of my spiel I will give. Thank you for the hiccups and dealing with me at the beginning of those hiccups, and also for your attention here today. I believe we will be doing Q&A right now, so I will stop yapping and start answering. How about that?
Can you see the questions that have been dropped in Q&A, Alex? Or I can read them to you.
Oh, let me see. I can see them now. Cool.
Okay.
Q&A. Yes. Thank you all for helping me with my PowerPoint. My bad. All right. Bruce. Hey, Bruce. Thanks for jumping in here. If you add batteries at a later date, won't they be unmatched and cause a new battery to be limited? Yes. Bruce knows his stuff. Thank you, Bruce. So let's talk about it. So there's this thing in batteries that happens. You have more resistance as time goes on. You create more ohms, right? So as time goes on, you have an old battery that is going to experience more resistance just because of the chemical composition of lithium batteries. So you have an old battery, right? You want to install a new battery. The new battery is going to be limited by the degradation that happened in the old battery, and that new battery is actually going to derate itself to where the old battery is to ensure proper charging and discharging. So it's not that you can't go past, we recommend a year. It's not that you can't go past a year of adding all these batteries later, but to take full advantage of your investment and the, cycles or energy through or the, megawatt hour throughput, what be you want to do it within a year so you get the maximum, bang for your buck with the old battery and adding in the new battery. So Bruce, you're exactly right. It will be limited to the degradation of the original one. It is possible, but that's why we give that 1 year, cutoff, because we don't want folks adding it 5 years down the road and they realize, hey, the new battery is going to act just like the old battery, right? They're not really getting their full money's worth in that instance. So just to talk about adding batteries on later, good question, Bruce, and I'm glad that you know that answer. Hey, Bill, welcome. What is the lowest outdoor temp that the system has been tested over what period of time? I'm from Philadelphia, believe it or not, go Birds. I'm trying to think. We've done systems in Vermont that were outside 3, 4, 5 years ago. And I mean, Vermont's pretty cold, right? Like 10 degrees Fahrenheit, maybe higher, maybe lower. So lowest outdoor temp, I'd say plus or minus, 20% of 10 degrees Fahrenheit over the last 5 years. Like I said, I've sold batteries in Vermont for the last couple of years. I've sold batteries in Canada, believe it or not. And that's cold. That's like -10. So a lot of experience with the outdoor temps, but it is why the outdoor heater or the heater built into the eForce as an example, if you're calling in from a cold climate, that is a great value add for you, right? That's a great feature to have. And you are seeing more batteries have heaters for that reason too. Other companies also have heaters as well, but that's why we chose it for our eForce. And really good point of, over time, you want to make sure it's going to have the same performance. And side note / tangent, cold temperatures are very bad for batteries, like terrible for batteries. So cold temperatures limit charging and discharging rates, impact the life cycle. So that's why it's really crucial to have some sort of heating element, a built-in heater, wink wink, eForce, or some sort of an insulation if you're installing it outside. Really important on the temperature management side of things for batteries. Good question, Bill. Thank you. Peter Prince, how we doing? When adding capacity, must all batteries be from the same family? Yes. Great question, Mr. Prince. Yes, if you have an eFlex Max, you have to add another eFlex Max. If you have an eVault Max, guess what? We got to add another eVault Max, and the same thing with the eForce. As of today, you have to use the same model or the same family. I like how you said that, the same family as you add on batteries, within that 1 year time period I spoke about earlier. Can you derate your inverter to be able to connect to a 40 amp breaker, 7680 watts? If you're speaking, Bruce, if you're speaking to the NV12, is there any reason you wouldn't just go with the NV8? I guess we could work through that, but instead of derating a 12 kilowatt inverter, could you just go with a smaller inverter? Or you could derate it. Not to say you can't, but just thinking out loud with you, maybe just go and start with a smaller inverter. I hope that helps. What type, Mr. Prince, he's back. What type of low voltage protection? So a big part of batteries, and I used to harp on this, in the years past, my goodness, BMSs, battery management system. So a battery management system is the brain of the battery, right? I said the inverter is the brain of the system. The BMS is the brain of the battery. So the brain of the battery is what's going to do the protection of those battery cells to make sure that the batteries don't, overheat. The batteries don't get a surge of power coming in, which is going to be very bad for the batteries. So low voltage protection is a feature, a safety feature of the BMS that's included in all of the batteries I just shared with you, the eFlex Max, the eVault Max, that other one, the eForce, right? All come with BMSs that's going to act as the protection device for those batteries. Okay, and it's actually a relay. It's a relay-based, digital processor-based BMS that's going to open a fuse for things like, you know, overcurrent or surge current. That fuse will actually open. So it's a very, you know, it's like a computer essentially in your battery to protect the battery from those instances. Good question. I like these questions, guys. Thank you. Keep them coming. All right, Bill, I'm seeing you here. Adjust the ability of systems to be managed over networked computers. For example, Victron products support the MQTT protocol and allow monitoring of almost all system operations. Okay, so managed over network computers. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to buy the Fortress Power equipment. We have a box. It's called the Guardian. It's an accessory. You don't need it. It's highly recommended. It is essentially the online management of the Fortress Power assets that can be that you can do monitoring over the firmware updates all through the Fortress Power platform. So I did not mention it here on this slide today, but it is an accessory that you can have because, you know, some folks don't want it, some folks need it. So the ability to have that Guardian is going to be able to help you manage, you know, monitor, manage, check out the system parameters, everything from PV production to an individual cell within the battery. So we have a product like that's called the Guardian. My apologies for not mentioning that, but that is our, you know, gateway, if you will, on how to manage and monitor Fortress Power products, inverter, battery alike. Good question. Anonymous attendee number 1. Hello, anonymous attendee. I have 3 collector arrays on my existing system. Can you a third charge controller? You know, NAZ is a great resource for questions like this because we'd have to figure out what size of your arrays, what existing system materials that you have, what charge controllers that you have. So what I'd recommend is that you go back to NAZ, give them some more information on those arrays you have, what existing equipment that you have, and then they can help you figure out if you actually do need a third charge controller. Bruce, I see your question, but the AK needs to not exceed 40 amp breaker for 200 amp bus bar, so it needs to come down to 7680. Yeah, okay, I see what you're doing. So yeah, if you want to do the 12 for 200 amp pass through, you could derate it. You're just going to go into the settings of the inverter and just basically adjust the settings to derate it on the power side. Can I Hey, Kerwin, what's going on? Good to have you here. I know Kerwin, everybody. Sorry. Can I program the NV to take advantage of time use rates with my utility? Yes, you can. It's not going to be anything fancy though, Kerwin. I know you have an eForce, I believe, if I remember correctly. So what you're going to do is essentially in the NV, you're going to have the CLP critical load panel, and you can actually set up times for the NV to discharge to that load panel during, you know, San Diego is going to be what, 5 to 8, right? So I'd recommend go to our manual, check out the settings portfolio, and you'll be able to adjust those settings to take advantage of offsetting GOU rates with what, ST Genie, I think, for you. Yeah, makes sense. Bruce, the Fortress Cloud platform, I don't know what it is. My apologies. I don't know. It's our cloud platform, maybe. It's a good one. Peter Prince, are your products made in the US? How's availability? Our products are not made in the US today. They will be at the end of this year, is our roadmap for what, you know, we call in the industry domestic content, fancy name for US manufacturing. Availability, my partner at NAZ keeps these things in stock. So talk to NAZ, they keep it in stock. They can help you with getting material as soon as tomorrow. Sorry, Therese, as soon as tomorrow or as later as next month. Maybe not tomorrow.
As soon as you send us that big stocking order we just placed, which we've been waiting for.
It's coming. But they do keep it in stock there, so that way you guys can get availability. But yes, it's available in a very sweet and short sentence.
All right. Those were lots of great questions, everyone.
I have one more, sorry.
Yeah.
Alex, the 48-volt product line, that includes the cases, right? Like the Durarack and stuff. It doesn't have to be an actual, like, electronically 48-volt
Could be the
device.
Durarack, could be the Flex Tower. You know, certainly include the batteries and the inverters, but yeah, it can include accessories as well.
Okay, all right.
Good
And we
question.
do have a big stock order coming in. So yeah, please hit us up. We'll have plenty of stock. And I just want to reiterate too what Alex said about our engineering resource availability for all of our customers. We are always there for you. Fortress has a great department as well, but you're welcome to start with us. And then if there's something that our engineers can't handle, we can always get more help from Fortress directly. You bet.
One
Sorry.
last thing before I let you guys go from this very long-winded speech I did here today would be just generally, do your research. Like, I know this was Fortress specific, but like genuinely, if you're a person calling into it, do your research. Talk to people like NAZ. Don't just buy batteries and not do your research. I know that's kind of common sense, but do your research. Talk to NAZ. Ask a lot of questions. Go to YouTube. Go to websites. It's a newer technology. You want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence. I mean, batteries are, the price is coming down, but they are still relatively expensive, right? So do your research, talk to the right people. You can wing it, sure, but not my professional advice would be to wing this thing. So that's all I got for you. Utilize the resources that you got, and you'll be successful.